This is Campus News, reporting the top stories from colleges and universities.
Next on Campus News, see how rising gas prices are impacting the life of this student and mother.
Find out how Obama's budget could impact cancer research.
See how these students are having a bloody good time.
March Madness has arrived. See which area college teams will be competing for NCAA championships. Welcome to Campus News. I'm Robert Swanson.
And I'm Laura Lee Lofsgaard. For most college students, paying for gas on top of other bills can get expensive.
But for one MSU Moorhead student, paying for gas is even more of a struggle. Chelsea Smith tells us her story.
For MSU Moorhead student Chandy Borgen, this is a weekly expense.
It's pretty typical, $40 about once a week.
But on top of rent, gas, and cell phone bills, she has more than just herself to look out for.
I'm a single mom college student. I work full-time at a daycare and go to school full-time at MSU.
Borgen says she pays about $120 a month in gas. The cost may be higher compared to some other college students, but for Borgen, she has no other choice.
Between daycare and driving all the way across from South Fargo to Moorhead multiple times, leaving work and back to school, then back to work.
With the high price of gas, Borgen isn't always able to do the things she would like to do.
Well, I'd like to do more fun things with James. I mean, it's fun to go to Chuck E. Cheese and Happy Joe's or take him to a water park or things like that, but a lot of that we don't get to do just because I don't have the extra funds to do it.
Even with the high price of gas, Borgen says she remains optimistic that she can provide a stable life for her and her son.
Trying to afford that on top of the rest of the bills is just chaos. For now, we get by.
With photographer Brandon King, Chelsea Smith, Campus News.
Gas prices have never been as high for this time of year, climbing to a national average of $3.74. Analysts say gas could hit $4.25 a gallon by late April.
One of the heaviest hitters in the Democratic Party is coming to North Dakota. Former President Bill Clinton is coming to Grand Forks to speak at the state's Democratic Convention. His visit comes just after members of the Republican Party stop by the state. Democrats are hoping the influential leader will re-energize the Democratic Party in North Dakota and gain the support of young voters. NDSU College Democrats President Michael Paolin says the visit will send a message that Democrats do care about North Dakota and really want to make a difference in this country. Clinton will be at the Alaris Center on Saturday, March 17th. The time has not yet been announced. Last year, North Dakota State University's 8.8% hike in tuition provoked threats of funding freezes from legislators.
And NDSU has once again tried to increase its tuition, but was denied by the Board of Higher Education. Reporter Callan Klein is at NDSU with the latest reaction from the tuition hike rejection.
Thanks, Robert and Laura Lee. I'm here at NDSU after the Board of Higher Education rejected a 0.5% increase in tuition. So we're here now at the union to talk to NDSU student body president to find out whether students value cheap education over quality education and to find out if more tuition increases are in store.
Even though it makes sense logically, people can get emotional and can make a whole different case out of it. And so I think they saw it as they didn't really know which way to gauge it, thinking that the state maybe would retaliate if they were to allow the 0.5%.
And that's how Knutson describes what he believes was the board's reason behind rejecting the proposed increase that he says was necessary to maintain standards on campus.
It wasn't anything major, but it basically keeps us operating at the way people have come to expect.
The proposed hike would have raised tuition by about $31 per student and would bring in about $400,000 extra every year for the university. Knutson says he believes the formula the board's using to determine whether or not schools receive funding is flawed.
You know, if you look past the politics, look at the logic, it only makes sense for the state to change the formula and have the dollars follow the students. And so I think our students didn't want the cheapest education, but they want the best education for a good price.
As for future tuition increases, Knutson says that will be in the hands of the legislature and their future decisions. But he's hopeful for his university and says the only way to go is up.
Realizing that they have to change the formula, and it's only for the better. And the current system now is not a good thing for the state. But if the state does their part, we can definitely live in harmony there, you know.
With photographers Ezra Vandenide and Caitlin Teskey, this is Callan Klein, Campus News.
President Brashani says NDSU still remains both affordable and underfunded relative to its size and mission. The search for North Dakota's next chancellor is down to the final four. After a search committee interviewed the four remaining candidates, all of them made it to the final round of interviews. The final four candidates are Tri-College University Provost and State Senator Tim Flackel of Fargo, Executive Director of Nebraska's Coordination Commission for Post-Secondary Education, Marshall Hill, Interim Chancellor of Missouri University of Science and Technology, Warren Ray, and the President of California State University, Stanislaus Ahmed Shirvani. The State Board of Higher Education will interview the four finalists on March 13th. The new chancellor will succeed Bill Getz, who is retiring in August.
MSU Moorhead students and professors are taking on the medical field with full force, one cell at a time. Mark Wallert, an MSUM professor studying cancer cells, says the research is key for new developments in cancer treatment.
Lung cancer research really focuses on studying the way cancer cells move and migrate.
Wallert's research is dedicated to finding parts of proteins within cells that block or slow down the cancer process. Wallert says that the research is important but can be tedious at times.
We've been working on this project for slightly more than a decade. If we are highly successful, maybe in a decade from now, we could be talking about potential molecules that can block this process.
According to Wallert, MSUM's cancer research program has overcome many obstacles in its strive for long-term success. But President Obama's budget proposal for 2013 may affect the program sooner than later. Reporter Zach Denzer tells us more.
The proposition to keep funding for the National Institutes of Health the same for 2013 sparked controversy in medical schools around America. But no one person was greater surprised by the decision than Wallert, whose NIH-funded work, along with other MSUM students and professors, was recently published in the international journal Cellular Oncology.
Right now we have two grants that we're working on, one from the National Institutes of Health, one from the National Science Foundation. They've provided over $600,000 in funding over the last 3.5 years. And so we currently use about $65,000 to $75,000 worth of supplies a year. Without funding, it doesn't happen. It completely has to stop.
Here in the Biology and Chemistry Research Lab at MSUM, researchers have the opportunity to impact the medical world in a vital way. But Wallert says soon that could all change.
Funding science, funding research, and letting research happen at schools like this gives students experiences that allow them to investigate and think about different careers, different ways to use their science to build their lifestyle and lifetime ambitions. And if you take away funding, you lose the chance to recruit students into science. You lose the chance to give them that experience that could change their life.
For Wallert and the other cancer researchers at MSUM, it's going to take more than a budget proposition to defeat the significant research that has come from the science labs and into international journals around the world. With photographer Megan Havik, Zach Denzer, Campus News.
The budget proposal for 2013 also includes cuts to NASA and increases to the Department of Energy and the National Science Foundation.
Facebook, along with other social media, has the potential to provide a clearer picture of the signs of depression. A year-long study was done of 200 students from the University of Wisconsin-Madison and the University of Washington. 30% met with the American Psychiatric Association's symptoms of depression. This supports research that depression is increasing among college students. In 2007, Facebook started working with National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Users can now report content as suicidal if they see a disturbing post. At some universities, resident advisors are now using Facebook to monitor students' mood changes. Mental health experts say Facebook could be one more way to help save lives.
The Technology Incubator on the North Dakota State University campus is home to one of the newest innovations for heavy lifting, and it's good for your body. The company Ergologistics has created a new product called the Liftin' Buddy. This portable lifting device is sold to companies that distribute and deliver freight. The Liftin' Buddy weighs only about 90 pounds, is controlled by a remote control, and can lift up to 500 pounds.
Our mission is to take the heavy out of heavy lifting, save a few backs, and improve a company's bottom line by savings from lowered insurance premiums and lowered workman's comp claims.
The new product has been named a finalist for the Edison Best New Product Awards in the Industrial Design category. The awards are given in New York this April. Popular TV shows like CSI and NCIS are full of blood and investigation, but now this type of action is happening at Concordia College.
Common University offers a forensic science class at Concordia that teaches you how to analyze a bloody crime scene. Nora Alamran shows us what goes on in this blood-stained classroom.
In a chemistry class, you're most likely to find tons of beakers and chemicals, but not in this one. In this class, you find hammers and cow's blood.
The community university program in general is geared to teach people of any age information that they're just eager to learn. We call it an urge to learn again.
One of the students that attended the forensic class says that this class is very exciting.
It's so interesting, especially with all the NCISs and SVUs and all the crime shows out there. You kind of want to see what's true and what's not. You know, the first question I think I asked the instructor was if it's possible to get away with a murder, and she goes, "There's no way. There's just no way."
In this class, students do not only sit in a classroom and listen to the lecture. Instead, they are outside hitting gloves filled with blood, or in class using a hammer to hit a bloody sponge as a way to study blood splatter.
Doggone it if morbid curiosity doesn't take over. I gotta tell you. I don't think there's a person out there that can go through this class and go, "Oh, it's too gross."
At the end of the day, this class is
disturbingly interesting.
If you don't want to sit in a seat but you're willing to try something and you've seen it on TV and wondered if that's really the way it works, this is the class for you.
At the end of the day, it wasn't all exciting for Smith, who was put in charge of cleaning up the bloody mess. With photographer Brittany Larson, Nora Alamran, Campus News.
Hershey's chocolate syrup was commonly used as fake blood in black and white Hollywood movies.
For some students, their favorite entertainment might be watching a movie or checking Facebook. But for others, it means saddling up a horse and kicking up some dirt. Reporter Brittany Olafson has a story.
Okay, here we go, our cowboy.
Trying to stay on the backs of bucking broncos may seem life-threatening, but competition and passion is what keeps these riders in the game. NDSU is part of a 6-state region that participates in 10 rodeos a year. Riders from North and South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin team up to compete in several events.
We have the bareback, the broncs, and the bull riding that everyone loves, calf roping, steer wrestling, team roping, and then the ladies' events are like breakaway roping, goat tying, and barrel racing, of course.
Students from 13 different colleges bring their riding spirit to these Great Plains region rodeos. Lane Schroeder, a rider from Iowa Central Community College, says the events he participates in require some speed.
The tie-down roping is where you have a rope tied on the saddle horn and you have to rope the calf, you have to flank it and tie it, and the fastest guy wins. And in the team roping, you have a header and a heeler, and the header ropes the head, turns the steer off to the left, and the heeler tries to rope 2 feet.
For some students, riding is a hobby they've always known.
Rodeo's been a big part of my family's life forever. I'm like the 5th generation in my family to be doing this, so it's kind of second nature. I grew up with it, so I did it in high school, coming to college, and rodeoing was just kind of a given that it was going to happen anyway. So
X says when he took over the NDSU Rodeo Club in 2005, there was no money and no direction.
Since I've stepped in, boy, we really have stepped it up, and we have regular practices and changed a lot of things and made it nice for the kids to be here, and we've actually turned into a very competitive team.
X says he has seen broken legs happen at rodeos, as well as other common injuries. However, the risk of a 1,000-pound animal falling on top of them is not enough to keep these students from their desire to ride.
I love it. I wouldn't do anything else.
Brittany Olafson, Campus News.
In college rodeo, the goal is to make it to national finals, which is held in June in Casper, Wyoming. The first sign of spring for many college students is not flowers blooming, snow melting, or midterms. Spring means one thing for the Fargo-Moorhead area. The Moorhead Dairy Queen on Main Avenue is opening again. Despite the snowy weather, many ice cream lovers waited for their first cone from the DQ. This Dairy Queen is special because it offers ice cream at a cheaper price and is one of the only locations in the area that has you order outside. Students from NDSU even chose this Dairy Queen over other ones.
This is the place to go. This is the Dairy Queen to go to. Almost like the first day of spring, or you know, it means more than Groundhog Day to us here because spring really is coming soon.
The Dairy Queen on Main has been serving ice cream since 1949.
A new research center is focusing on something people will find sweet, a center for flavors. The University of Minnesota has recently established this one-of-a-kind flavor center. Food scientists are using flavoromics and a new state-of-the-art flavor lab to find out how foods get their taste and what's appealing to people. The center is not only trying to improve the taste of processed foods, but to make healthier foods that help cut obesity and lead to better nutrition. The Flavor Center has nearly a dozen major food companies making generous donations to help further the research.
Students missing home got a comforting meal. NDSU's Black Student Association treated the public to a soul food night. It was to celebrate Black History Month on campus. Plates were filled with food like fried chicken, collard greens, and cornbread.
Our event is called a soul food dinner, and we just bring our culture to awareness for NDSU campus and the soul food, which is good for the soul.
The soul food meal was one of many events to bring awareness to Black culture and history.
Students with a passion for culture and music came together to celebrate African roots and African beats. Reporter Yvonne Soleil brings us to Pan-Africa Night.
Colorful clothing and driving beats captivated the audience at North Dakota State University's Festival Concert Hall. Organizers say what makes this event unique is it's not limited to Africa alone, since the cultures and music influence everyone. Gerard Beaubrun has hosted Pan-Africa Night at NDSU for 2 years in a row.
Pan-African Night isn't a totally African or African-American simple event. It's basically, like I said, a celebration of anything that falls within the African influence. For example, hip-hop, the influence of the African rhythm is undeniable. And hip-hop is danced by everyone in the world.
Each year, students take time out of their busy schedules to create routines and rehearse for the show.
There's something powerful about students leaving their homework, their school, their stress, their test, and rehearsing 2-3 hours a day for performance that's not even gonna give them money, any monetary return, just giving it to the community.
Over the past 4 years, NDSU students have come together to celebrate their love for African heritage and culture. Yvonne Soleil, Campus News.
African music has influenced a range of musical genres including jazz, reggae, hip-hop, R&B, rock, and the blues. And now we turn it over to CJ for a look at this week's sports.
So a few local teams have qualified for some NCAA tournaments.
Yeah, well, it's March, so March Madness is in full swing. For the first time in almost 50 years, the MSU Moorhead's men's basketball team will be playing in the NCAA Division II National Tournament. MSU had made the cut as an at-large selection chosen by the NCAA Tournament Committee. With the 5th seed in the Central region, the Dragons will take on the 4th-seeded Southwest Minnesota State University Mustangs. The Mustangs defeated the Dragons last Sunday in the Northern Sun Intercollegiate Conference Tournament Championship game, 76-72. The rematch game will be held tonight at 8:30 in Golden, Colorado. If the Dragons win, they will either take on Colorado Mines or NSIC rival Augustana College. The University of North Dakota women's hockey team was selected for the NCAA National Collegiate Women's Hockey Championship. UND finished the regular season with a record of 22-11-3 and ranked 6th in the nation. The Fighting Sioux will take on arch-rival University of Minnesota Golden Gophers, who finished ranked 2nd in the nation with a record of 31-5-2. The two teams played 4 times in the regular season with 2 wins apiece, but the Gophers shut out the Sioux in the Western Collegiate Hockey Association Tournament semifinals 6-0. In today's game, it'll be loser goes home. The teams hit the ice at 4. The winner moves on to the Frozen Four to take on either Cornell or Boston University. Concordia's women's hockey team will be in the NCAA Division III tournament for the first time in school history. The Coppers finished the regular season with a record of 15-5-5. The 8th seeded Cobras will be taking on the #1 ranked Rochester Institution of Technology, which has a 25-1-1 overall record. The game will be held this afternoon at 1 in Rochester, New York. If the Cobras win, they'll face either Plattsburgh State or Middlebury on Friday, March 16th. Concussions in college sports haven't always been easy to detect or treat, but with the use of the program Impact, athletic trainers are now able to understand and deal with the injury more effectively. Sports reporter Macy Eglin shows us how the innovative technology works.
Here at the MSUM Athletic Department, trainers have been using the program Impact for 8 years now. All MSUM athletes in contact sports are required to take the Impact test before their season begins. This way, if the athlete does sustain a concussion, they will retake the test to determine just how severe the injury is. The program begins by asking the athlete how they're feeling both emotionally and physically. It then tests their memory using words and images, as well as their reaction time.
They want to get on the field or on the court or wherever they're playing. So, you know, sometimes they don't always tell us. They're not honest about how they're feeling. You know, they want to get in the game, so they're going to, you know, maybe fudge the truth a little bit. And that, yeah, I'm feeling fine. And again, I have no way to tell how their brain is functioning. So having an impact test is one way that we can help.
Concussions have been and will continue to be a common occurrence in college-level sports. We're here at the Bison Sports Arena to speak with Jordan Auberg, who suffered a concussion early last season. He is a forward for the NDSU men's basketball team and says that he is now symptom-free, but that his concussion negatively affected him for a long time.
After taking the test between 15 and 20 times, he says he began to have mixed feelings about it.
I didn't really like it after all the times I failed it, but I mean, I think it has its good perks and bad perks.
With the use of Impact, trainers are now able to get their athletes back in the game safely and in most cases, more quickly. With photographer Garrett Madison, I'm Macy Eglin, Campus News Sports.
Auberg was cleared to play in the 2011-2012 season and played in all 30 games for the Bison. North Dakota State University football will be experiencing some brotherly love. Devion Dinwiddie is transferring to NDSU, where his younger brother Deshaun Dinwiddie plays linebacker. As a running back, Devion averaged 6 yards per carry and 71.7 yards per game for Hutchinson Community College in Kansas this past season. In his first year at NDSU, Deshaun played in 9 games and helped the Bison win the FCS National Championship in 2011. The sport of fencing may not be very popular, but some dedicated fencers travel out of state to compete at a fencing tournament held at MSU Moorhead. Colin Boyles gives us an insight into their passion.
With one word, 2 opponents will take swords to each other. As the duel starts, the fencers try to strike their challenger with their weapon. In the foil style of fencing, points may only be awarded when the tip of the blade hits the torso.
Nice.
The epee style, on the other hand, records points when the tip strikes any part of the body. The physical aspect is only half the battle, as a quick mind is also needed.
It's very important to stay on your guard, or to very calm, focusing on what your opponent is doing, to figure out what your opponent is doing, and then be able to figure out a way to counteract it.
Gregory Mittberg is from Beaverton, Oregon, and has been fencing for 9 years. Before learning of the MSUM tournament, he was visiting his grandparents in Fergus Falls, Minnesota. The trip to Moorhead, though, was one that would come more unexpectedly.
I woke up at 6 this morning and drove for an hour and a half.
Is that what you thought you'd be doing whenever you came to see your grandparents?
No, it was not.
President of the MSUM Fencing Club, Trevor Roloff, says fencers like Gregory come from all around to the campus-hosted tournaments. The competitions and practices bring the participants closer together.
You meet a lot of community members. I mean, you just slowly expand the number of people you know through it. It's great.
Bonding between those who share a passion for fencing is just one of the reasons why these college students would not choose to do anything else with their Saturday mornings. With photographer Kenny Buck, Colin Boyles, Campus News Sports.
There are 42 colleges and universities that have fencing teams that compete in NCAA competition.
Well, maybe this sport will catch on even more.
Thank you, CJ. MSU Moorhead is not only helping to educate students, many are also working at staying fit. Body Pump is a fitness class offered at the MSUM Wellness Center. It is a group exercise class that uses barbells with adjustable weights and focuses on several different muscle groups.
Squats, chest,
triceps, biceps, lunges, shoulders, abs, and a cool down. So it's 10 songs. So it takes about 55 minutes. So you are hitting every part of your body.
It's good for toning and it's fun. That's the most thing, is it's just so fun to do and everyone can do it.
The class is offered 4 nights a week. Because Body Pump is equipment-based, it is on a first-come, first-served basis. MSUM students and faculty can take any one of the classes they prefer, free of charge.
Swing may not be the choice of dance for most college students, but it's slowly growing in popularity around area campuses. Reporter Krista Boehm explains just how this group keeps swinging.
This upbeat dance club has seen more twirling skirts and dancing feet, as it has become more popular throughout MSU Moorhead, Concordia, and North Dakota State University, as it just received tri-college status this semester. Swing dance instructor Jeremy Stockson recalls just how this group got its start.
I actually got started swing dancing in a gymnasium over in Nemzik, where we weren't supposed to be there, with a boombox, me and one follow, and we're like, it'd be awesome if there were more people here to dance with us.
With clubs now established at all 3 colleges, both swing dance instructors have enjoyed watching so many students enjoy what they love teaching.
When I see the floor full of people who are all stepping the music at the same time, it's beautiful to me, because I know I have helped those people to be able to express themselves physically to a good genre of music.
The American tradition of swing dancing has been around for decades and shows no signs of slowing down.
It's a lot of fun.
Whether you are a beginner or have been swing dancing for years,
I just thought it was the most fun thing ever.
The Tri-College Swing Dance Club has something to offer that everyone can enjoy.
What we're really worried about is having fun.
Even if you think you cannot dance and have 2 left feet, all you need to do is listen to the music. With photographer Matthew Holding-Eagle, Krista Boehm, Campus News.
Swing dancing broke out in the 1920s due to the popularity of jazz music. There are 22 different styles of swing dancing. And that's it for this edition of Campus News.
We leave you with more Pan-Africanite performances.
Thanks for joining us, and have a good day, everyone.
Campus News is produced by the Television News Workshop in the Department of Mass Communications at Minnesota State University Moorhead, in cooperation with Prairie Public Television.